A very pleasant morning to all my dear children. Welcome back to English Online class of Sri Gokulam Public School, Guruvayur. I hope all my dear children are doing great. Okay children, so be at home and be safe. So let's continue with the exploration of planet Mars along with our other companions. Who all are our companions children? Professor Shonku, a Bengali scientist, his cat Newton, his servant Prahlad and his robot Bidu Shekhar. So let's continue with our lesson 3, The Diary of a Space Traveler by Satyajit Ray. The lesson that we are discussing right now is an excerpt from his story, The Diary of a Space Traveler. It is translated by Gopa Majumdar. So you all understood who all are the main characters of our story, right? Once again, let us see which all are the main characters. They are Professor Shonku, a Bengali scientist, his cat Newton, his servant Prahlad and his robot Bidu Shekhar. Professor Shonku has built a rocket by himself, okay, and they set off to Mars in this rocket. They started their journey to Mars in this rocket. So as soon as they landed on the planet Mars, they noticed that everything is just the opposite and everything is different from the planet Earth. And how it is different, children? The grass, the trees, the ground, the stones, the rock, everything is so soft like a rubber. It is soft and rubbery. And what about the things in our planet Earth? The rocks and the stones and the ground, they would be so hard and strong, right? Yes. And what about the color? The grass and the trees is blue. They are blue in color. And what is green in Mars? It is only the sky. Okay? Now what about the color of the river? Means the color of the water in the river? It is red in color and it's just like blood flowing in the river. So he was not ready to drink the water at first. Only when his cat Newton drank from that river, he also cupped water and drank it. Soon after he got just a sip, his tiredness vanished. He felt so energetic and so active. Okay. So when they landed on this planet Mars, Professor Shonku, he switched on Bidu Shekhar, but Bidu Shekhar refused to come out of the rocket to join them. Okay, he refused to join them to explore the planet Mars. And what was the reason given by Bidu Shekhar for not coming out of the rocket? He told that there is terrible danger in this planet. Okay. And without bothering about the warnings given by his robot, Professor Shonku, he decided to explore the planet Mars. Okay, as he was exploring, as he was going around in the planet Mars, he heard terrible scream and that froze his blood. Okay, when he heard that scream, that violent scream, he was filled with fear. Okay, he was so afraid and frightened. And just then when he just turned around, he saw that Prahlad wrapping Newton and running towards the rocket. And who was chasing Prahlad? It was a Martian creature. So that sight really froze his blood. He was frozen, okay? So he was so frightened. Because how did the Martian creature looks like? It was just 4 feet. Okay, 4 feet high. The height was just 4 feet. And what about its features? It had legs and feet, but instead of arms, it had fins. Okay, and its head was so big. It had only one eye. It was a single eye. Okay, and that too green in color. And its body was covered with scales. So this Martian creature was not a human being, nor an animal, and not a fish. It had the combination of all these three. Okay, it had something of common of all these three. Means it had the legs and feet just like human beings. It had eye, but it has only one eye. Okay, then it had fins and scales of a fish and all. So, and how was its mouth? It was so wide open without teeth. It doesn't have teeth. Okay. So that was how it had common of all these three. Now, Professor Shonku, he decided to rescue or help Prahlad, his servant Prahlad. But Prahlad, he ran so fast and he somehow got inside the rocket and he was safe. So, but still, Professor Shonku, he decided to chase this Martian creature, and this Martian creature was just 20 yards away from him, okay? 20 yards means 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. So, it was just a little distance away from Professor Shonku. So, soon after Prahlad got inside the rocket, who came to rescue Professor Shonku? It was his robot Vidushekar. Now Vidushekar, he stood in front of this creature, this Martian creature, and he swung his arm, okay? He struck so hard the Martian creature, and it fell down to the ground, okay? It flapped its wings just like a bird, and it fell to the ground. So that creature is almost like dead, okay? It is almost dead. Still, Professor Shonku, he can sense that fishy smell that he had first, okay? He could still sense that fishy smell, and also he can hear that strange noise. How was that noise? Tintry, tintry, tintry. So he heard that strange noise, just like the crickets chirping. Crickets is a type of insect, okay? Just like crickets chirping, he heard that sound again. So when he turned around, what did he see, children? Not just one Martian creature, but 300. But 300 Martian creatures were following them. So Vidushekar, he struck the first one, and still he was not ready to stop there, okay? He was going to attack the whole Martian army. Why did Professor Shonku call them as Martian army? Why did he use the word army? Because there were so many of them, and they were coming forward as a group to attack Shonku and his companions. So that's why he referred to them as, he referred that creatures as Martian army, okay? So now the next problem was whether Vidushekar would fight the entire Martian army by himself. And Professor Shonku knows that he won't succeed in that, because there are 300 similar creatures, not just one or two, but there are 300 similar creatures. How would he defeat all of them? He's just one, right? Yes, so he was so much worried, he was so desperate. What would he do in such a situation? He was feeling very hopeless. He doesn't know what to do, but soon he thought of a solution for that. He pressed the switch on his left shoulder, and when he pressed that switch, what happened to Vidushekar? Vidushekar fell to the ground and he was not moving anymore, okay? So, but still, it is not a solution, okay? Now, how he will lift this 90 kg robot? How will he lift this robot to the rocket? How will he carry this robot? That was his next problem. But as he was a scientist, he was so brilliant, okay? So what did he do? He loosened the screws so that he would get two halves, the top half and the bottom part, okay, the bottom half. He called Prahlad, he called his servant Prahlad for help, but he didn't get any reply from Prahlad. So we understood that Prahlad is a coward, right? He's not at all courage, he is not ready to face all these situations bravely. He might be really afraid of these Martian creatures, right? But Professor Shonku, he didn't stand there still. Instead, he acted quickly, right? He took right decisions. He was so witty person, he was so brilliant, intelligent. So he loosened the screws on the waist of the robot so that he get two halves. He can carry these parts into the rocket one by one, okay? So first he dragged the top half of the robot to the rocket, okay? And then he went on to drag the legs of the robot. So the Martian creatures, now when he looked around, he could see thousands of Martian creatures, not just 300, but thousands of them were coming to attack Professor Shonku and his companions. So when he was pulling the legs of the robot, they were just 50 yards away. Before they were 100 yards away, but now they are just 50 yards away. So he had to act quickly, okay? So he pulled the legs of Vidushekar and somehow managed to get into the rocket safely, okay? Somehow he managed to escape from this Martian creatures, from this Martian host. So who's a host? Host is the people who receive the guest. For example, if you're coming to my house, if any of you are coming to my house, I would be the host and you would be my guest. So hosts are the people who receive the guest. So children, what did you learn from this lesson? Children, now what is the moral that you received from this lesson? The Diary of a Space Traveler. It is that you should be adventurous, right? You should face any challenges in life very bravely, courageously. Okay? So don't just panic in any situations. Okay? If some dangerous situations or unpleasant situations come across, if you encounter such situations, such unpleasant situations, what you have to do is face all the situations very bravely, okay, very courageously. Sometimes that situations might be very unusual, very strange, just like that happened in the story. Professor Shonku met a Martian army, okay. So sometimes it will be very unusual like that, but sometimes it might be very common, just like you would be made to speak in front of your class or to speak in assembly. So what you have to do is just speak out what you know, children, okay? You don't have to be afraid of anything in this world. You haven't made any mistakes, right? Then why should you be afraid of? Whom should you be afraid of? So don't be afraid of anything in this world, okay? Just tell or just speak or just act what you know, okay? So that's all. So face any situations that come across very courageously, okay? So that you could overcome all the problems in your life and come out successfully, okay? You will be successful in your life. With this note, let's wind about today's session. So that's all for today. Do download the notes, do attempt the test. Thank you, children.